Hello everyone, welcome to our first Yattenden online assembly. This is happening in my back garden, not in the hall as it normally does, where I'd be looking for people who are setting a brilliant example, sitting up straight, not talking to the person sitting next to them. But today we're in my back garden, the sun is shining. I'm going to talk to you today about things I've been reading in this book. It's called Big Ideas for Curious Minds, and if you see at the bottom here it says an introduction to philosophy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what philosophy is first, and then we're going to think about how on earth this applies to us at home at the moment. The first picture shows a person really interested in this book, very deep in thought, with lots and lots of question marks around her head. First question in the book asks, what is philosophy? It says, philosophy is quite a mysterious subject that most people don't know anything about. The average school doesn't teach it, the average adult doesn't understand it, and the whole subject can seem odd and kind of unnecessary. That's a real pity, because in fact, philosophy has a lot to teach everyone, whatever their age. It might be the most important subject you will ever study. This book wants to open the door for you and wants to show you what philosophy is all about and how it can help you understand life. The word philosophy itself gives us a bit of a clue as to why the subject matters. It's originally from an ancient Greek word. The first part, philo, means love. The second part, which comes from the word Sophia, means wisdom. So when you put those two pairs together, philosophy literally means the love of wisdom. Philosophy helps us to live wise lives. But what does wisdom mean? It's not very obvious at first. Is being wise just about being clever? No, it's much more than that. It's about being sensible, kind, calm and accepting. Accepting that life can be quite hard sometimes. It isn't always perfect, it is sometimes hard. And at the moment I think we can agree that life is a bit tricky because we're all living in these really strange times where we're all at home and we're not coming to school and we're missing each other very much. To get a better idea of what wisdom might involve, we can think about its opposites. We can think about times when we are not wise. Imagine your mum loses her keys. There are unwise ways she might deal with this, and I think my children might agree. Maybe she starts shouting at other people, "Who moved my keys?" Even though probably no one did move them. Or maybe she gets into a panic and throws herself on the sofa, moaning that she's a complete idiot and that her entire life is ruined. Poor mum. What would a wiser mum do? Well, instead of ranting and raving or starting to panic straight away, she would think, well, car keys do tend to get lost from time to time. I must have put them somewhere. Maybe they're in the coat I was wearing yesterday. She could ask calmly if you'd seen them. She might even laugh about how silly she was to forget where she'd put them. There are lots of situations where you can see the difference between unwise and wise ways of dealing with stuff that happens. And there are lots of problems, both big and small, in everyone's life, including yours too. We can never get rid of them entirely, although we can try really hard to. But we can all get better at how we deal with our problems. We can try not to get angry so often, try to shout less, try not to panic or hurt people we love. And philosophy tries to help us act more wisely when facing problems. So now I'm going to ask my two helpers to help me. My two helpers, I would normally ask people to put their hands up in assembly and offer to come to the front, but these two helpers haven't got any choice at all because they're the only ones in my home school. Let me introduce them to you. So here is George. George is helper number 1. He's in year 6. He doesn't like taking part in assemblies very much, so this is quite a big deal for George. And this is helper number 2. This is Florence. Florence is in year 2 and she's a keen bean. She loves taking part in assemblies, so she's going to be doing most of the acting. So we're going to think about some situations that might occur in your house when you are at home during this lockdown period. Supposing you have been set a lovely task to do by your grown-up at home, and they think this is going to be a really, really nice thing for you to do with your brother or your sister, and you decide to play a game of Connect 4. Here's the game of Connect 4. Now, George is the red counters, and Florence is the yellow counters. So you can see who's won, can't you? Yep, George has won. So, in that situation, here's George with his smiling face because he's feeling great about winning. And Florence is going to show you 2 ways that you might deal with this. Firstly, she's going to show you an unwise response. What might an unwise response be, Florence?
I'm never going to play this game again. I hate it.
Very good. Really unwise. What about another one?
It's not fair. You cheated.
Oh no, they've pushed each other. And what about another one? Did you hate playing the game?
Yeah.
Tell everyone how much you hated playing the game.
I hated it so much. I'm never going to play it ever again.
Okay. Not very wise responses there from Florence. How about doing it slightly differently? How about a wise choice?
Remember, it's only a game, and that whether you have good luck and you hope you win next time.
Yeah, you might hope you win next time, mightn't you? So it's only a game, and it's only to do with luck sometimes, and with better luck you might win next time. Thank you very much. Let's think about our next situation. Our next situation is this one. You don't like what you've been given for dinner, Florence. George has eaten all of his up. Florence has not. First of all, she's going to show you what an unwise response might be.
I do not want to eat it. It's so disgusting. I'm not going to eat it.
Oh, Florence has thrown her plate on the floor. Florence, I think maybe we could think about what a wise response could be. I can see, Florence, that you don't like your dinner very much. What could you do?
Admit to yourself that it's going to take ages no matter what you do.
What could you do instead?
Politely explain what you would prefer to have instead.
You could politely explain. Should we practice that? I can see, Florence, that you don't like that fish cake.
I would politely explain what I would like for dinner next time.
Okay, you could politely explain. How about you make dinner with me next time instead?
Yes.
That would be a great idea. We're going to talk about one last thing. Florence, it's time to go to bed. We can tell it's time to go to bed because here's Rabbit. And Florence loves cuddling Rabbit when she's in bed. But when I tell her sometimes to go to bed, she sometimes does an unwise choice. Florence, it's time to go to bed.
No!
What do you mean, no?
It's not time to go to bed. I'm not tired.
You're not tired? Do you mean you're going to walk upstairs and possibly slam your bedroom door?
Yes.
Oh dear, that's a shame. Maybe we could think about something that is a wise choice. How could you, if I tell you to go to bed, Florence, what might be a better way of doing it?
Remember that life is very long. You will be able to stay up late eventually.
And what else?
Focus on all the fun things that will happen tomorrow. Then get up early and have an interesting morning.
Very, very good idea. So in all of those situations, we can see that there are wise things and unwise things to do. Sometimes the unwise thing is because you feel a bit cross or frustrated or angry. The wiser thing to do is think about a kinder way of dealing with the situation. For example, if you don't like your dinner, the person who made your dinner didn't deliberately make you a dinner because they thought that you were going to dislike it. Maybe you could explain to them what you would like to eat next time very, very politely. Or maybe you could even offer to help. And perhaps keep in mind the feelings of people around you. Maybe if you lost a game, your first response is to want to shout and scream and maybe throw the game on the floor. But if you think about it, it's only a game and maybe you'll win next time. So carry on playing. And when you're not tired and you're asked to go to bed, it's a really, really good idea to think about the fact that life is long and one day you'll be able to stay up as late as you want to. But for now, it's time to go to bed, and you can look forward to all of the fun you're going to have tomorrow instead. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed our first online assembly. I've certainly enjoyed sitting here telling you about philosophy and some wise and unwise choices. What I'd like you to do before next week's assembly is think about those situations you're in where you can make a wise choice that's better than an unwise choice. Bye-bye!